What's up guys, it's Andrea and I'm back again with another video. If you are new to my channel, please be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Everybody go ahead and hit that notification bell so every time I post something, you won't miss it. Alright, so today guys, I obviously have a little bit of time on my hands, stepping aside away from the books. I wanted to sit down and film this video with you guys. Yesterday, I asked you guys on Instagram what you guys wanted to see so I can make a quick little video. This was one of the suggestions, so I thought I might as well and go ahead and record it for you guys. Okay, so as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about how to deal with failure in nursing school. And when I'm talking about failure, I'm not talking about just, so we have an understanding here. I'm not talking about failing nursing school, like the program in its entirety. I'm just talking about specifically about tests because honestly, more often than not, a lot of maybe social media nursing influencers that you may see, a lot of us, we don't talk about failure. We may talk about how stressed we are, how overwhelmed we are, how we have so much work to do, but nobody really addresses the factor of, okay, I failed a test and this is what I had to do to bounce back. Let me tell y'all firsthand, I have full-blown out experience. I'm not proud to say this, but every single semester that I've been in nursing school, I failed a test. Whether it was my first test that I ever took in nursing school, which I made a 58, not proud of that, but I made a 58, that was an eye-opener. Or it's just barely not passing by making like a 74, 73. That is something, if you're used to, which I was, in my prereqs, I was used to making those A's and B's and barely having to study, versus when I took my very first test in nursing school, I made that 58, and I studied so hard, I was shook. Like, I was shook to the core. I was like, what? I made a 58, and I studied, like, the way that I studied, like, it's hard, and it's definitely an adjustment, but I wanted to make this video. I thought this was a super good idea because I want you guys to understand failing a test is normal. No, it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's normal. You can bounce back from it, and you just have to learn how to cope with it, how to deal with it, how to like change your your way of thinking, and just really moving on from that failure. That's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. So as you can tell, by my Instagram, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you should definitely go do that. And my Snapchat. I've been studying nonstop. I don't have a life. My life is literally all nursing school. It's a lot going on this semester, and so I just wanted to give y'all a quick little update. I just took my first round of tests. I had my mental health test last Thursday, and I had my med-surg test yesterday. So I'm waiting back the grades on both of those. I have no idea what I made, but just a quick little update. Okay, so just moving forward with the video, like I said, can't stress this enough. I experienced this firsthand. I'm not just making this video just to make a video. I'm letting you guys know, hey, I went through this myself, and these tips alone really helped me. And I don't know, like it really just fixed my mindset. Like after you have a failure, that's definitely like awakening. It's something different, especially if you're not used to failure. So these tips really helped me. All right, so tip number one, you have to accept the failure, especially if like this is your first time. If you failed like super bad and you studied so hard, it's gonna be hard for you to accept it. You're gonna be like, there's no way that I made this. Like let me tell you what you're gonna do, because this is what I do, my friends do, this is what we all do. We get to complaining, like oh, like if she would've did this, if she would've did that. We get to saying, crazy stuff like, oh, well the questions were worded this way, and the grammar was like, you'll come up with 1,000,001 excuses to deny the fact that you messed up. You just had a little here and there that really messed you up and, unfortunately made you or allowed you to fail that test. You failed that test. So right off the jump, when you see that grade, when you failed, you have to accept the failure. And if you have that opportunity to, like, my program doesn't do it anymore, but if you have the opportunity to go back and review your test, like the week after, we used to have review sessions where we could go and, review our test again and see what we got right and what we got wrong. We don't have that luxury anymore, but if you do, please take full advantage and see what you got wrong. And that really leads me into my next tip by saying, by knowing what you got wrong, or even like if you don't have that, opportunity to go back and review your test, even if you have the slightest idea of what you think you don't know or what you don't know, you need to go back and review that information, because I guarantee you someday at some point you will see that information again, whether it's on your final for that class or later on down the line when you have to take the NCLEX. So yes, it's good to know the information for the time being for that specific test, but just understand that this information is stuff that you really need to know and you know, you're gonna have that final, and if you're not doing so good in the class where, you know, your grades are low, your test grades are low, to where your overall average is low, you're really gonna be dependent on that final, because 9 times out of 10, that final is gonna weigh more than your actual test grades. So you need to, overall, you need to do really good on that final. So make sure you know all the information. Okay, so my next tip is gonna be, you cannot allow the failure to lose, like you can't let it allow you to lose your focus. And I know that's easier said than done, trust me. Like when I failed a test, or when I failed a test in nursing school, my mom used to tell me all the time, you cannot let this, you know, mess you up. You have a plan, you have a goal. You cannot allow this to let you lose focus of that. And like I said, I know it's easier said than done. Allow yourself maybe an hour or two after the test to feel mopey, to feel sad, but you have to bounce back, because I guarantee you, you have another test coming around the corner. So you have to bounce back, and you can't allow it to, you know, let you lose your motivation or your drive to get to that end goal of getting your degree. And truthfully, what I do is, like, whenever I fail a test, is yes, for that, in that moment, I would feel sad. I'll probably cry. I remember last semester when I failed one of my tests, and it was like a 73, and 74.5 is passing. But I failed a test with like a 73, and I was crying. But I realized, like, I allowed myself some time to feel sad for myself, but then I realized, girl, you got to get it together. So I allowed that failure to be a motivation for my next test. I don't want to be in the same position for the next test. I hate feeling like this. I hate feeling like, you know, a failure. I don't like this feeling. So I allowed that feeling to be a drive, to be a motivation, to be fuel for me to get it together for my next test. Okay, and then my next tip, which is very serious, and I want you guys to understand this and take it, you know, really seriously. If you are dealing with multiple failures, say on your tests, if you're failing multiple tests like back to back to back, and I'm not saying like barely making it like, oh, 73 here, 74 here, and like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like if you're really failing like really bad, this is when you want to take the opportunity to go talk to your instructor. And even honestly, you can do this beforehand. Like if you fail your first test and this is your first test in nursing school, it's okay to go talk to your instructor about it. I guarantee you, I would say 9 times out of 10, they're more than happy and more than willing to discuss with you, you know, what your options are, what they think maybe you should do. Like, hey, maybe you should interact more in class. Maybe you should not sit in the back row and be distracted. They'll 9 times out of 10 have some suggestions for you. But this specific tip is, if you're having multiple failures, I'm saying to go speak to your instructor, because you don't want to be in the position to where you get to the end of the semester and there's no way, even if you made 100 on the final, you would pass the class. You really don't want to be in that predicament, because that's probably, I haven't experienced that. I will say that I haven't experienced that, but I can only imagine if you're going into your final and it's, you know, you have to make 100 to pass the class. I would say that's not a situation that anyone wants to be in. So before it gets to that point, if you're seeing that you're having multiple failures, maybe if like you take in, you know, your first 3 tests and you haven't had one solid good grade in there to kind of balance out your failures, you need to go talk to your instructor, because again, you don't want to be put in that situation. And also you want to see what your options are. Whether you have the options to drop the class, if you want to drop the class, if you want to try again next semester, that's absolutely okay. Again, I always stress this, and I like to tell people this. Yes, of course, we want to hurry up and get our degree. Of course, everyone wants to graduate on time. But I look at it as long as you get to where you're going, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. You could take extra semesters. You could take less semesters. It doesn't matter. As long as you get to your end goal, that's all that matters. So if you have to, you know, if dropping the class is an option and you really feel like I need to try this again next semester, that's okay. You can do that. If you feel like I can really get this, like I can really pull it together by the end of the semester, I'm all for it. But you have to be realistic and just keep in mind what your capabilities are. Okay, and then my last tip is gonna be just to pray about it. And if you don't, you know, if you don't pray, okay, you know, do what you do, meditate, I don't know. For me, I have to pray about it, and I have to, because really praying, and if you meditate or, you know, whatever you do, it really clears my mind. It gives me a clear mindset, it gives me a positive mindset, and I feel like when I pray, I really come to reality. So again, after I've felt sad for myself for quite some time, I'll pray about it, and that's why I just move on from it. It's really also super good to reflect back on why you started nursing school to begin with, because I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, a lot of us have stories. We have people, family members as to why we started nursing school to begin with. Your family member is probably sick. Me personally, you guys know my little brother has epilepsy, so that was my drive. So every time I'm feeling down, every time I'm feeling like, you know, I can't do this, I'm doing it for my brother, so I have no choice but to get it together and to do it. So just think of why you're doing it, and as well as thinking about that, you need to think about, again, the end goal. You want that degree. It's truly important for you to believe in yourself. You cannot have thoughts of, because of you failed one test, oh, I'm dumb, oh, I can't do this, oh, I'm not supposed to be in nursing school. When I failed my first test in nursing school, did I have those thoughts? Absolutely. I was like, sis, like what are you doing? Why are you here? But you cannot have that mentality. If you have that mentality, that is going to mess you up. And I'm being so honest with you guys right now, that is gonna mess you up on every single thing you do in nursing school. It's gonna mess you up in tests, it's gonna mess you up in quizzes, it's gonna mess you up in presentations, because you're gonna feel like, I'm not supposed to be here. So you need all those negative vibes, negative energy, delete it, sis, because it's really going to affect you. And then, I mean, hey, the next thing and the last thing that you can really do is just, like I said, relax and go in and ace that next test. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's all I had for how to deal with failure in nursing school. If you have any suggestions, I highly suggest that you comment down below. How do you cope with, how do you deal with failing a test in nursing school? Just so, you know, maybe you never know, you could help someone else out. So comment down below, how do you deal with failure in nursing school? Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay up, stay with it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
I just had to let you know you're